In our top story this hour, frustration is mounting as families of victims of the George building collapse wait for answers about their loved ones. Rescue teams are still sifting through rubble to locate the more than 40 workers who are still unaccounted for. 8 people have died and 16 others are in critical condition following Monday's building collapse. Officials have revised the number of workers who were on site at the time of the incident to 81. Newzroom Afrika's Karinda Jagmohan is on the ground and joins us live from George. Karinda, it has been an incredible, nearly inching into the 4th night. Is this still a search and rescue operation?
This is still a search and rescue operation. That's what officials saying is that they still are clinging on to hope to pull someone who's breathing out of that rubble, a survivor. But at the same time, heavy machinery is now being used for the better part of today. And actually, starting from last night, the heavy machinery, including drills, were used to break up those concrete slabs into further rubble and start excavating that rubble so that rescuers could go further in. Remember, this is a 5-story building that collapsed, caving in into the basement and the foundation. And yesterday afternoon, we saw that building start shaking again, the slabs sliding, and essentially the entire site shifting a bit, caving further in. At that point, rescuers had to be evacuated from the site. It was extremely dangerous, but then we realized that now heavy machinery has to be used to take up the rubble if they want to go underground below the basement level. And well, there's no basement level in this case because the building has collapsed, but where the basement would be in the foundation, they're trying to dig a hole, get down there and try and pull out survivors or pull out bodies in some cases. We did smell that scent of bodies earlier. We had to move back a bit and we heard that a section of that site was being set up for some of the bodies to be taken. Some of the residents nearby were told to close their curtains and windows just to be protected essentially from what they might see, which would cause trauma. Speaking about trauma, that's what families are also going through. Right now, this is where some family members have gathered, and you can see we're just staying a little bit away so that they can have the privacy to pray. These are young students who are here in support of some of their colleagues who are trapped beneath the rubble. Well, at this point, they don't know where their colleagues are. And that's the frustration of the families, the friends, the loved ones, because they say that while they have been here since they heard about this news very late on Monday, they started coming here, they've not received any answers about where their loved ones are. So while we know there are 29 survivors currently in hospital and there are 44 people beneath the rubble, 8 people passed away, the families don't know where their loved ones are among these categories. They don't know if their mother, father, brother or sister is alive. They don't know if they have passed on. They don't know if they're still trapped beneath that concrete, and it's extremely frustrating for those who, many of the families whose loved ones are from Malawi say they're also having a struggle with communication as well. We spoke to one, Maureen Mafukeng, who is from Malawi. Her sister Esther is here. Esther has a 1-year-old child, and we don't know who's going to take care of the child if Esther is not found. That is a struggle. 2 other relatives of hers, a cousin and actually a friend, Florence and Tiwong, are also beneath the rubble or have survived. We don't know. That's the frustration. They don't know. Take a listen to Maureen's interview we did inside the community hall earlier on.
Iseti pano kambaka kuti babale bitu anyake awakuzika na ngozi yula ngatini hapa na Esther Ngwira mweneyo aleka kamwana kadoko chomene akumsuzika nganako kugona nguwa mwana wakuti akonkha kweni kufikira panyengo iso no tutole apuna news iliyose yayi na ripoti iliyose tilije ibale uti kumuona yayi kweni hapo rede inekela na kuzika na ndo watatu na kuzika na Tuonge, na kuzika na Esther, na kuzika na Florence. Hapo Esther huyo aleka mwana mdogo chomene wakuti akonkha wa 1 year. So pachifukwa hichi na information yose tuikulika yayi kuti panji vana vandu valiko panji vatoreka panji vari kutipatara palije tesi kutakuvingi tolako yayi. So chikuwa chinu chakuti kuza chakuti pweteka chifukwa kuma pamande kusakapika mwanya uno palije chise tuchitanga vi tuangapo cha panji tengapulikapo.
1 year-old. 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 1 year Now, in that community hall, our families, friends all gathered, huddled together, trying to keep warm, but also just trying to comfort each other with that frustration as well. At the same time, we also told another family member who we interviewed just about 2 hours ago, the fact that the property owners have failed to respond to authorities. That's according to Western Cape authorities, or rather that's according to authorities from the Department of Labour and Employment. They say that they tried to track down the property owners. They went to the address, they weren't there. They've now issued subpoenas. Then the Labour Minister went on to say that there's a moral obligation for the property owners to actually come and speak to the family members, and also questions being raised about the certification of this building. Who said that it was safe for over 80 people to enter that premises? And ultimately, we saw the collapse of that building. So at the same time, that frustration was raised by the gentleman that I spoke to when I said that to him. And he said that he just wanted answers from this person. He then showed me a picture of his friend, who he said was his church brother, a close friend, and he's here just waiting for answers. In that picture, his friend Charles is on a bended knee, hugging his pregnant wife. The child has been born, but that child is at home. The mother is at home, waiting to hear what has happened to Charles. Take a listen to Sino Mkwanda.
I was here to find some relative of my families. It's a brother as a homeboy, and that guy is very friendly for him. It's a family. I was go together with the churches, you know. So he's still missing since on Monday up to now. And also, you know, that guy, he got a family and the kids. I was waiting here. Since Monday up to now, he didn't get any information. So I was struggling to get information. I don't know whether he's dead or not. I don't know if he's alive or not.
You must have seen that picture of Charles now, seen pictures of Esther, Florence, Tuango, and pictures of many others. We don't know what their fate is. That is the main frustration of families. We don't know whether Charles has survived, if he's going to go home to his wife and child, if he has passed on and that his wife will be able to bury him and find closure, or if he's still beneath this rubble. We can hear the machinery right now. We can hear the whistles when there is a call for silence because a rescuer has to go beneath the surface and there just needs to be some concentration. We can hear all of this, so the families can hear this, but they actually don't know what's happening. They're not allowed to actually go physically to the site where we were. Officials are coming to the ground, and over the next few days we expect more officials, but we also expect more answers. I'll keep you updated throughout the night. It's very cold, but for the families, they have blankets with them, but that doesn't matter. They want answers, so it's only prayer that's comforting them at this point.
Thank you very much, Karinda. There has been a lot of talk about the fact that there are seemingly quite a significant number of foreign nationals, some, as we've heard from one of the fathers of the boys who are underground, with no legal documentation to be in the country. Has the minister weighed in on this at all with regards to what we know so far when it comes to the status of the foreign nationals, the migrants that are working and possibly trapped underground?
Yes, he has weighed in. He spoke about the fact that the investigations will include the aspect of the type of employment this company used, the type of equipment and assets this company used, just indicating towards the department's consistent plea to avoid the use of what he described as cheap labor. But then he also went on to say that this is not the time to discuss that particular issue when it comes to speaking about the services being offered to the families and the loved ones in their search. He says these are human beings, and it is the responsibility of citizens to help one another, essentially. So that is the focus in terms of the humanitarian relief that needs to be offered to those that are waiting for signs of their loved ones. Essentially breadwinners in all its forms, and there's quite a controversial issue about this, but the core of it, he says, is the discussion that this is a human being that needs help, needs to be rescued, or needs to be assisted medically, and that is the way forward now. And the matter essentially about the legalities of this is going to be dealt in the investigation. There are separate investigations in terms of a police investigation that, once concluded, will be handed over to the Department of Labour and Employment. That, for the better part of of yesterday and today has been on the site and conducting administrative tasks. So they've been looking at the records, reconciling them and actually removing them from the site before it gets lost, he says. And from those records, they determined that it wasn't 75 people in this building, rather 81. These numbers might continue fluctuating as well, as it usually does in cases of disaster, when numbers or information is still coming from various facets around such a disaster. And that is what we just saw this morning when the news broke of more people to find, essentially. Another investigation is being conducted by Western Cape authorities, but all of this is a fact-finding mission. What is important right now for the Department of Labour Employment is to track down the company that owns this property, essentially, and determine a way forward there. There was talks of a court case. It's a criminal site as well. It's a cordoned-off criminal site for investigations. Forensic authorities are on the scene. So that is also a moving process, and we'll see that unfold. So there's that aspect, which is the legal aspect, and on the other side, where I am right now, is the humanitarian aspect, and the men, women, mothers, fathers who have lit some candles. Actually, I'm not sure if we'll be able to go closer, Mr. Chaba. Let's try and go a little bit closer. Please bear with us as we do that, because I just want you to see the candles here. Some of those that are there are construction workers. They have their construction clothes on, and they are there for support because some of their friends were in that building when it collapsed. Among one of those those who were in the building was one supervisor. My colleague Ndushandu just assisting us behind the camera to go closer, but a supervisor who was in the building who managed to jump out to safety on Monday. And he said that he saw his two friends perish there, and it's something that still haunts him. It haunts him. And for those that are here for their friends, they are haunted too by those memories. Many of those crying around us in tears, just tissues being passed around. And I just want you to have a look at the candles being lit here. It's a small bouquet of flowers. It's a few candles, but it means so much. The men and women holding candles here. I'm just going to just let you listen in to this.
Promised it to them, okay?
Okay, we're just being asked to come out of this area right now, so we're going to just step back a little bit, just to give those some privacy. So we're going to, all right? So this gentleman just asking us to please just come out right now. So we're going to just take a step back. There's a step behind you, Ndu. But there you see just an emotional scene, and you know, Mr. Chaba, it's a small bouquet of flowers, it's a small candle, but that's just the focus and the remembrance, the memorial, as we remember those who we're still looking for. We don't know if they're in hospital, we don't know if they have passed on, we don't know if they're beneath the rubble, so it's just also a sign of hope. But those are the scenes unfolding, and I'll keep you updated. What we'll do right now, because of course we will perhaps just take you to the other side where the heavy machinery is, and we'll give you that aspect because there are many rescuers right now on the ground, and we're going to keep you updated with regards to what is happening there. That constant drilling, we can still hear it amid these songs of prayer as well. The two coming together, it's really just a tragic scene playing out here in George.
Thank you very much, Karinda. And that is Newzroom Afrika reporter Karinda Jagmohan, who is in George in the Western Cape at the scene